Hey, welcome to the Michelle Mission, Two Men, One Podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Len, aka the Bat Tribble. And as always, I'm joined by my partner.
Hey, what's going on? It's Vincent Williams.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the very merry month of May, which means that it is time for Vincent and I to turn and shout downstairs, "Mother, may I have another one of those bad black movies?"
Mother, may I.
Boy, do we have a good one for you this evening as Vincent kicks things off with 2002's JUWANNA MANN, starring Miguel Núñez Jr., Vivica A. Fox, and Kevin Pollak in a feature film directed by Jesse Vaughn and featuring a cameo by a Michelle Mission favorite.
Yes, it does. Is it a cameo?
Well, that might be stretching it a bit.
But yes, he does.
He's right there at the opening, ready for his close-up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we can't wait to talk about it. But before we do, we want to welcome each and every one of you out there who are watching us as we stream live via YouTube and Facebook on our Michelle Mission YouTube channel, in our Michelle Mission Facebook group. And Vincent, for the first time ever, the Michelle Mission is streaming live on YouTube and Facebook channels of the Black Tribbles.
Hey, what's going on, Tribble Nation?
So there are five destinations upon which you can find the Michelle Mission streaming live this evening.
Excellent.
And shout out to each. Go ahead, Vince.
Oh no, I was going to do what you're going to do. So you do it, and then I'll do it after you.
Okay, I was going to give a shout out to each and every one of the people that are out there watching us and saying hello, sharing salutations with one another in the chat. I see action figure expert Deborah Battle, Aaron Fry, Christopher Goodnight. Hey, we haven't talked to Saint Saucy in a long time. And a new missionary, Down to Mars Girl. How you doing?
All right. Welcome. Good evening, folks. Good to see you.
All right. So, Vincenzo.
Yes, sir. How would you like to start our pre-film discussion as we enter into the month of May?
Secretly, Vince, this is your favorite time of the year here on the mission, is it not? I enjoy the fact that the mission.
I gotta do the man time saver thing. Huh? No. I'm happy the missionaries enjoy it. I'm happy that the missionaries enjoy it, and it's fun. It is fun.
It's interesting that we are actually kicking off Mother May I today on May the 4th, which in geek culture is a very popular date, as George Kimona reminded us the second he came into the chat, reminding us that it is May the 4th be with you day here all over geek culture. That is May the 4th be with you for Star Wars.
Yes.
Vince, it got me to wondering, do you know what the Star Trek equivalent to May the 4th be with you is?
I don't know the actual date, but if I were a betting man, I would say it was First Contact.
Oh, interesting. That's not a bad guess. At all.
Which, for people who aren't Star Trek people, that is the date when the Vulcans came to Earth and made first contact with humans, which then opened us up to the rest of the universe.
Okay, now me and you, Vince, we are far more Trekkers than Star Wars fans. But for 200 points, Vince, can you name the first human that the Vulcans came in contact with?
Oh, I've got like Zebediah in my head. It's something like that though.
If you even get like his last name, I'll give it to you.
Zebediah Coltrane or
Cockrum.
Yes. So what Cockrum.
Is it? I know Cockrum.
I mean, right. Yeah.
I know it was. It's Cockrum. It was. Gonna find out. Oh wow, this is very interesting, Vince. Check this out. First Contact Day pays tribute to the flight of the Phoenix and the pivotal first interaction between humans and Vulcans. It occurred on April 5th, 2063.
Okay, so April 5th.
Wow, I see now. I wouldn't have thought that I did not know that was. Well, that's considered First Contact Day, so I don't know if they necessarily consider that Star Trek Day, but it definitely is considered First Contact Day. I'm sure. I'm not looking at the chat right now, but I'm sure George Kimona is.
I was about to say you got to give me the name
writing
of the
in the chat.
Right,
it was Dr. Zephram Cockrum, the pilot of the Phoenix and inventor of the warp drive.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. well, George didn't know it either. George Kimona wrote Zebediah Cockrum. I don't know who that person is. Anyway,
that was his grandfather who was a farmer.
Yes. But no. So First Contact, so that means First Contact Day would be tomorrow. That's interesting.
I thought you said April.
Right? Because tomorrow will be the 5th. Yeah.
I thought you said April.
Oh, April 5th. Oh, yeah, you're right. You know, I've been calling May. Yeah, you're right. I've been calling it April all day long. I don't know why. I have no idea. You're absolutely right.
Right. Do I need to send somebody to go check on you?
But when I actually... No, I'm fine. But the date that I actually thought was going to be, my research showed is also considered Star Trek Day, is September 8th of 2021.
Okay.
And that's considered Star Trek Day, at least someplace, because September 8th of 1966 was the premiere of the original series.
Okay.
Star Trek.
All right.
So
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take them both. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I was about to say any day is a good day to watch some Star Trek. So
very true.
But happy May the 4th to everyone who is celebrating and acknowledging the role of Star Wars.
Yeah. Happy May the 4th. No, ain't no shame on that. Star Wars is pretty cool. It's pretty dope. I actually was just listening to a podcast called You Got This, where they kind of like debate different crazy things every week. And they, in celebration of May the 4th, they were debating the best Star Wars prequel. Which I think they landed on, what's episode 3?
I don't know.
We do not know our Star Wars.
I don't, yeah.
I know the first one is The Phantom Menace, then it's Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith. I think is the
sure.
No, George Kimona, it's not Rogue One. Well, I guess that does, even though Rogue One, actually, I think they were talking about primarily the Star Wars prequels. They weren't thinking about like the ancillary films like Rogue One. But Rogue One is a prequel and is a better film than all three of those. So I guess he actually makes a point. Rogue One might
be. The right answer is Rogue One.
There you go. All right. Let's get off of Star Wars. Hey, Vince, I don't know if you are aware, but there has been a shift in the matrix that is the Michelle Mission universe.
Oh, has there now?
Yes, there is. Because in the Michelle Mission universe, ladies and gentlemen, if you were not aware, if you're not paying attention to your social media, we recently debuted new podcast art for our show. And that is showing up on all the social medias, wherever you find podcasts. And there is the new podcast art for the Michelle Mission right there, Vince. You see it?
I do see it. Look at those gentlemen enjoying the film. And hey, what's that you're eating, Lynn?
I'm eating delicious pretzel bites right there with cheese for the dipping.
Yes, which apparently is how you eat them.
Have you like never had pretzel bites?
No, I've never been on a desert island.
Anyway, and you know what? You know, it just dawned on me. The times that we've gone to the movies together, we've gone to a very suspicious theater that does not sell pretzel bites. They only sell popcorn
and soda and candy.
Yeah,
very suspicious.
Well, they don't sell pretzel bites. That's why I just sit there and drink water.
Right.
So this is our podcast art, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, a lot of people, our social media director, Toya, put it out there for people, letting them know about what was happening. We got a lot of congratulations. Alexa Gold said this is awesome. A lot of people said this is so dope. So a lot of people were very appreciative of the art.
Thank you.
Of the podcast art. And we also heard from Mo Poplar.
Hey, what's up, Maurice?
Who said, hey, do you feel as old as that new Michelle Mission banner makes you and Vince look? I love the concept, but... And then he continues.
Wait, there's more.
I'm just looking out. Don't want people to think that the pod is old N-words with high collar sweaters talking about cinema. Y'all more than that.
Although I have to say, I would be interested in that podcast.
So that's Maurice Poplar sharing his point of view. Thank you, Maurice.
Yes, absolutely.
On our art. So there you go. That's art, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So that's dope. Hey, Vince.
Yes, Lynn.
I have been on a Gladys Knight jag for a little bit. I've just been like streaming Gladys Knight left and right?
Very nice.
So, Deborah Battle said, someone beat me to it. I was going to say you look older than you are in real life. Well, thank you. Well, yes.
We'll take it back to the shop.
Yes. And Fatima says that your avatars are fit. Len looks like he lifts weights. I don't lift weights, actually. I'm allergic to weights. But except if you mean the weight of a pretzel bite. But
calisthenics. You do calisthenics.
I don't do calisthenics.
Calisthenics, it's like that first. It's like, remember the first appearance of Batman, and they showed him training.
Yes.
And he had on like the little itty bitty black shorts, and he was doing calisthenics.
Yes.
And then he was in the lab, and he had the white shirt with the button all the way up to the top.
Yes.
And then he was looking through a microscope.
Yeah.
That's what you do every day, I think.
Take them all the way back to 1939. Why don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, no, that's not what I do every day. What I do every day, though, is I do 100 push-ups and 100 crunches. That's what I do. And then I watch what I eat.
Calisthenics.
Okay, there you go. So what I was saying. Oh, so I've been on a Gladys Knight kick lately, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that, I have, Amazon Prime, which is like one of those. Amazon Prime is almost like a utility. Like you gotta have Amazon Prime almost,
Okay.
right? And with Amazon Prime, I realized, hey, I get access to Amazon Music. So why don't I start streaming the Amazon Music and listen to Gladys Knight that way, right?
There you go.
Amazon Music is like, they maybe have 20 Gladys Knight songs total. And I mean, between Gladys Knight and Gladys Knight and the Pips, that's it. And they've got like the third least popular Gladys Knight and the Pips album in its entirety. And then a best of Gladys Knight, but they only have access to like every fifth song. Yeah. So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Which means that I have to then go to Spotify, which has pretty much the bulk of her music right there for me to listen to. Now, that's fine. I enjoy Spotify, but my thing is I like listening to music without commercials. So now I've got to pay for Spotify so that I can listen to it without commercials. Because if I want to listen to it with commercials, I might as well just turn on the radio.
You want to know why?
Why?
Gladys Knight infamously bounced around from company to company. Gladys Knight, after she left Motown, Gladys Knight bounced from record label to record label. That's why it used to be another record store story. It used to be a complete pain in the ass trying to find collections of Gladys Knight music with all of the hits.
Right, all the ones you want to hear, right.
She had bounced around so much, it was difficult for one collection to have the rights to everything.
Interesting, okay.
So that's part of the reason. Arguably, and I actually make this argument, I think that's part of the reason Gladys Knight was never as
big
as some of her legendary peers. Like I think even now people don't talk about Gladys Knight in the same breath as an Aretha Franklin or Diana Ross or even Patti LaBelle. And I think part of it is as people come to it after the fact, it's just more difficult to get to her music. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know that was still true because I'm aggressively anti-streaming, so I don't really know all the streaming ins and outs. But that doesn't surprise me at all. That's
interesting because I agree that Gladys Knight doesn't have the fame and popularity, or doesn't seem to share the same legendary status as some of her contemporaries who, I mean, you can argue, there's an argument to be made that, someone like Aretha Franklin and even Diana Ross, for their place in the culture, are on a whole nother tier, right?
Right.
Than someone like Gladys Knight and maybe even to a degree Patti LaBelle as well. But I would certainly see, in my mind, and I think in a lot of people's mind or contemporaries who grew up on Gladys Knight music, will see Gladys Knight, as a contemporary of Patti LaBelle. But I would always think that the issue is because, one, when she was with the Pips, while she was the main voice of the Pips, they were still a group, and they kind of got lost in the shuffle of Motown a little bit. And then when they did leave, I think that Gladys Knight and the Pips, and to a degree Gladys Knight when she went solo, fell victim to trying to find a producer who could give them the best work to showcase their talent.
But even that is a byproduct of she basically didn't stay in one place long enough.
Right.
You know, let's be clear. We're talking about the best of the best.
True.
And I would argue Aretha Franklin is the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that the fact that Aretha was on Atlantic for like decades, and you know, Jerry Wexler produced all those albums, and you know, she had muscle shows. Like, she had a unit that stayed with her from album to album.
Right.
That you can say about, like, you know, you look at Patti LaBelle, from the Bluebells to LaBelle to, you know, she was on Philly International, and then when she left, even her pop work, she had teams in all of those moments. And Gladys never really had that consistently.
Yeah.
So it really, and again, if we're talking about the best of the best, one slip.
That's right.
Jams you up.
Especially, you know, in that crowded field at that time.
I mean, even Dionne Warwick, like you talk about Dionne Warwick, you get that whole body of work with Burt Bacharach. And it's but it's a body of work. And you can say this is it, whereas Gladys, you really do almost have to do a piecemeal.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's you know, like I said, this is one of those things where someone would come in asking about Gladys Knight, and it was like, okay, this is about to be a rocky conversation, because you're going to have to give somebody, you know, because she was like on Buddha, or like she was on one of them labels that went out of business, and then people bought it, and you know, so you got this, but doesn't have Midnight Train in Georgia. Okay, well, this one doesn't have neither one of us wants to be the first to say goodbye. Okay, well, this, you know, and it really was, you would end up almost trying to give somebody 3 different greatest hits albums.
Yeah.
So
Fatima,
so now you can find it on.
I found it on. She's on Spotify.
Yeah.
She's on Spotify.
All right. Well, good.
Fatima says that Gladys versus Patti LaBelle's Versus was one of the better ones. I've heard a lot of good things about that one. Even though it took Gladys a little bit to catch up to what the Versus was supposed to be, I heard ultimately that turned out to be.
Gladys don't have time for that nonsense.
Hey, I ain't gonna knock. Gladys do whatever she wants.
Look, man.
Fine lady.
Love me some Gladys Knight.
Oh.
Love me some Gladys Knight. So.
I've been enjoying myself, brother. Let me tell you. Let's see. What else did we have to talk about before we get into our review? Vince. As the missionaries know, this is the very merry month of Mother May I. And
yes, it is.
For the first time ever here on the mission, the Michaud Mission will be having a watch party at the end of this month.
Yes, we will.
As you, the missionaries, were given the task of selecting what would be the final film to be reviewed here in Mother May I. You had to choose between Norbit, White Chicks, and the eventual winner, Medea Goes to Jail, which will be our very special selection for a watch party with Vince and I on Friday, May 21st at 7 p.m. via scener.com. That's SCENER.com. We are going to be finalizing details, and we'll be sending the link out so that you can, get yourself all set up to sit down with Vince and Len, who will have pretzel bites.
Yes.
As we watch together and laugh throughout Medea Goes to Jail.
So here's a question, Len. You watch this for the review, films for the review, and then when we do our actual episodes, like this is episode 250, I think. And
today is episode 250, yes.
Right, and these are actual episodes. So we do our due diligence and we come at it open-eyed, sober.
Right.
Can we drink during a watch party?
Yes. Yes.
Ask for a friend.
By all, actually, Vince, for this particular watch party, I think drinking is mandatory so that we can make it through. Yes, because we're not going to be reviewing the film.
Exactly. It's not because we're going to review it at later, right?
You're right. We're going to review it on our regular Tuesday night.
Right. So that'll
25th.
be right. I'll take the notes, and I got
Exactly.
she's got to have it notebook, and I write it down. Look, I got notes, Lynn. I took notes about JUWANNA MANN.
Oh, did you now?
I did. So for the review, it'll actually be a review, but for the watch party, that's a little different.
Yes, the watch party is different. We're gonna we're just gonna have fun.
Okay, all right.
And you brought up your notebook. I got a notebook. Yeah, I'm gonna go full screen so you can see my notebook. Look at my notebook, Vince. Look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. The Bat Tribble, which is my Black Tribbles, and all of the Black Tribbles as celebration of our 60-hour Guinness World Record, got a personalized notebook with our Tribble designation, the years of the Tribble since we podcast from 2011 to 2021. And as you can also see, Vince, the pages are personalized as well, too.
Very nice. Well, you shouldn't write in that.
Say what?
You shouldn't write in that.
I shouldn't?
That's a memento. No, it's a memento.
I gotta write in it, Vince.
No, you don't.
I got to.
Don't write in that, Lynn.
So what should I do? Frame it? Should I just frame this someplace?
You keep it with your memorabilia so that one day when it's the Smithsonian exhibit about the Black Tribbles, it can say on loan from the collection of Lynn Webb.
Okay. But won't they want to see my handwritten notes to see my thinking?
Right. You should have notes, but then that's the commemorative notebook from the celebration.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, just go get a moleskin, and that's your notebook.
Okay. All right.
So you didn't take copious notes for JUWANNA MANN? You didn't write it down. You don't have it when he called Tommy Davidson, and I quote, a Carolina River cricket. You didn't write that down? You didn't write that down, Lynn? You didn't write that down?
No. I didn't want to sully my personalized notebook.
My third note, I wrote, "Hey!" ! It's Omar! ! That's my third note.
That should have been your first note, because that is. Oh, Aaron Fry hitting us up in the chat and says, "Hey, wait a minute, is that Sammy Davis Jr. on Batman behind Len?" Why, thank you, Aaron Fry. Yes, that is. You see, that is Batman and Robin from the 1966 show, climbing up a building with Sammy Davis Jr. looking out the window.
You want to fill people on the context of that? How that had become a thing? I thought maybe you'd want to fill people like that had become a thing on Batman. Batman was a pop culture phenomenon. So every I don't know if it was every episode, but that was a thing where a celebrity would stick their head out the window.
Yeah, it definitely became a big thing in the second season of the show. Because it was they would vie to be the celebrity that popped out of the window. Which surprisingly, Batman aired twice a week.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It had turned into a thing. Now, here's a question that you may not be able to answer off the top of your head. How many Black people did that cameo?
Oh, Jesus. I would not be.
Sammy Davis Jr.
I would not be surprised if Sammy Davis Jr. was the only Black person.
Me either.
Yeah,
I was just wondering if you knew. Because I don't know the chronology. Would Flip Wilson have been famous?
No, I don't think so. Not in the late 60s.
In 66?
Yeah.
67?
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe like probably near the end of the like the 60s he became a little popular, but I don't think so. I don't think like right from the jump. Here there is actually a list, Vince.
I was just about to say, I know there's a list of all the celebrities.
You know there is. Let's see. I'm going to. You had. Well,
I mean, you can't do the whole list because it's probably long. But
see how many of it. How many people are not going to know all these people? Sammy Davis Jr. was the only black person.
Okay.
He was definitely the only black person, and the only other person of any other ethnicity was Don Ho.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
There you go. That's it.
So does that mean
That's it. Everybody else is pretty much white.
Don Ho, Bruce Lee, Sammy Davis Jr., and Eartha Kitt were the only minorities that were on Batman?
Oh, well, Eartha Kitt, who appeared as Catwoman in the third and final season of Batman. Wow. Probably like in a speaking role. In a speaking role, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, Bruce Lee played Kato, who was the Green Hornet's partner in the crossover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're probably right. It probably is Don Ho, Kato, Eartha Kitt, Sammy Davis Jr. in a cameo. That's it.
All right.
Which is par for the course for 1966.
This has been Batman 66 Talk with Lynn and Vince.
All right. Well, let's get into our review, Vince.
Really? You don't want to talk some more about Batman 66? You don't want to talk about King Tut or Egghead or Cesar Romero refusing to shave his mustache? You don't want to talk about that at all?
Maybe we'll save it for a binge lounge, Vince. How about that? How about we schedule a binge lounge?
No, we can just talk some more before we start talking about JUWANNA MANN. You want to talk about the fact that Aunt Harriet was a character they added for the show? Because the TV people thought that two bachelors living in a big old
mansion
with a manservant was a little bit too, and I believe this is directly from the studio notes, gay.
Yep. That actually was a thing.
We got to talk about JUWANNA MANN.
To be fair, the comic books did show Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson sharing a bed.
Yes. So you don't want to talk about that? We got to talk about JUWANNA MANN.
Strangely, Vince, I am looking forward to talking about JUWANNA MANN. So, Sophia knows, says, we want a binge lounge. So do I, Sophia.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
By we mean, hey, Vince, when are we going to do a binge lounge? Because you don't want me to tell them how many times you said no, but I've asked about doing a binge lounge. You want to see how the sausage is made?
Wait,
how many times, Vince?
What's that? You're breaking up, Lynn. You go right into the review now. You go into the review now. What's that?
Let's get into our review of JUWANNA MANN. But first, it's time for trailer talk.
All right, you went right into it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to check the time.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me check that time when I got to mark that. This is when we talk about all the stuff that's going to be edited out of the show, because the trailer will be playing at this point on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, out there watching us on Facebook and on YouTube. Oh, Sophia's giving it to you. Vince is so shady. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Aaron Fry says that Lloyd Hayes played a henchman. And okay, I'm sure that I'm sure there probably were black people running around in the background on some
I'm
show.
not sure of that at all. I'm not sure of that at all.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not surprised that he wasn't a henchman. A couple of black henchmen now and then, but to me that doesn't count. They certainly didn't have any speaking parts outside of grunting when they got hit.
Right.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised that when they got hit, they made sure that the graphic that popped on the screen was really big so that you would no longer see them. As a matter of fact, when the show played in the South, it was just a big graphic over their face.
That's terrible, but probably true.
George Camona says that a different world binge lounge would be nice so we can talk trash about Dwayne and Whitley. Oh, we can talk about how trash Dwayne and Whitley were.
You know what? That's a new read on Dwayne and Whitley, and I'll push back against that read. They were both young, and they were both figuring it out.
What do they mean by they were trash? So there
is a counter narrative that Dwayne and Whitley's relationship was toxic and not healthy. And I push back against that. I think they were just kids and they were kind of figuring it out.
Well, they were college students though. And by the time they got together, but by the time they got together, they were about juniors, if I remember.
Yes, that's still really young.
That's really young, but it's still 20.
Which is really young.
Okay, but still adult.
Like there's absolutely no one who should be judged by the decisions they made when they were 20.
Well, that's not true. You want to take that back.
Relationship?
Yes. You just think about what you just said, Vince.
No. I'm not talking about crime. I'm talking about just relationship.
Well, even in a relationship, you can still be very toxic and be 20 because at 20 years old, you do know some stuff, dog.
Yeah, I think they were figuring it out. I
I haven't watched the show in so long that I don't think it would be fair for me to give a answer one way or the other. But I do kind of remember her giving him a hard time.
Him giving her a hard time.
Did he? I don't know. I just remember him having that saddlebag that I wanted. That's all. That's really the only. That's really what I remember.
That was a nice bag. Yeah, that was a nice bag. I always thought it was unwieldy. Like I didn't know how you.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of went from, but it was a nice bag.
Especially because he didn't have like the biggest shoulders. So I was like,
right. And it was a big bag.
Yeah, so they had some double-sided tape on that, something for the show. Like it's trick photography or something. I don't know. But anyway, Robert Monroe Jr. wants to say there will be a binge lounge before there will be a Spock adjacent. Maybe during Discovery's.
I don't need to take this abuse.
Well, look, Vince. You always talk about. That's right. I'm putting you on Front Street, dog. It's gonna get edited out. So you don't mind. So who cares? You always talk about, people want to see us do the work. And I'm like, yeah, I hear that. They want to see us do the work, review the movies. Hey, Summer, how you doing? I always feel happy when I see Summer in the chat. Anyway, so they want to see us do the work. And I feel you on that, most certainly. But I also know that they want to hear us kind of like talking, geeky type of stuff. Old movies, television, which is what the binge lounge is about. They want to hear us going deep on a little bit of Star Trek stuff because we have more than a few Star Trek fans out there. They want to hear that just as much. You know what I'm saying? Now, I do think that we bit off too much more than we could chew when we tried to do 2 individual podcasts by doing Spock and Jason. But I don't think that is too much that, as I have asked, that every few 5th weeks or something like that, we throw out a binge lounge or a Spock adjacent, if for no other reason, yes, for the fans, but just to break up the monotony for ourselves. You know what I mean? but you have always said no.
I know. And monotony, it's not like we watch a different movie every week.
You know exactly what the hell I'm talking about.
That is a great print, by the way. Where'd you get that? I think I want that print.
Ooh, you finally want something I got. Where did I get it? That's a good question. I ordered it online. I can't remember where I got it from. Honestly,
that's a great print. Now that I know Sammy Davis Jr. is the only one black that did it,
that popped out the window. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I like that convergence of geek culture and black culture.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, that's it.
All right. Speaking
Anything
of the work.
Speaking of the work.
Speaking of the work.
All right. Let's get into.
Oh, Lord Jesus. All right. Go ahead. Come on. I'm ready.
JUWANNA MANN. All right. Give me a minute. Gotta watch the timer. This is officially the end of Trailer Talk, ladies and gentlemen. We're going into our review of JUWANNA MANN. Isn't this exciting? It's the suspense that comes. JUWANNA MANN, a 2002 American romantic comedy drama directed by Jesse Vaughn. I got to clear my glasses on that one. The film stars Miguel Núñez Jr. as Jamal Jeffries, a basketball star, becoming a female impersonator and joining a women's basketball team after being banned from the UBA. Also starring Vivica A. Fox, Kevin Pollak, Kim Wayans, Genuine, and Tommy Davidson. Mm-hmm. This 2002 entry in Mother, May I Have Another One of Those Bad Black Movies, was Vincent's selection this evening.
Yes, it was. Yes,
Vince,
it was.
what have you to say of JUWANNA MANN?
Well, it's May. And in May, we watch terrible movies. And JUWANNA MANN is a terrible movie. This is a terrible movie from beginning to end. But as you mentioned, we've been doing this for a while now. And I think that we have watched different kinds of terrible movies.
Okay.
I think there are terrible movies because of budget constraints. And sometimes those budget constraints are reflected in the script, the acting, the final project. With The New Barbarians, The $6,000 Nigga. Two examples. These are terrible films, but a lot of it is budgetary. I think there are terrible films because it is so wrong-headed that it's actually a spectacular spectacle of terribleness.
Right.
My favorite would, of course, be Tyler Perry's Temptation, a film by Tyler Perry. But then I think there are the films that are terrible because of the sheer aggressive laziness of what goes into the project. And those are the films that I think kind of anger me the most, frankly. Like I know we joke about me and Mother May I, but there really are films where it makes me angry that the lack of real any attention is an effort. It seems because you don't know how hard people actually work, is just insulting to the audience. And JUWANNA MANN is a film that I was joking about my notes, but the very first thing I wrote, looking at the credits, was this is a pretty good cast.
Yeah.
And I was, because I haven't seen it before. I've never actually seen it. Like, it's a running joke. It's JUWANNA MANN. But I've mentioned before, I don't understand how you have a film with two of the original cast members of In Living Color, Miguel Núñez. Well, let's just say the two original members. It's Tommy Davidson and Kim Wayans are both in this film. Miguel Núñez, who obviously is the lead and we'll be talking about throughout the evening, but I'll just shorthand it and say I'm a fan of Miguel Núñez.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Pollak, Jennifer Lewis.
Oh yes, forgot. Yeah.
Vivica A. Fox. And this is a film that is aggressively not funny. Like, there is not a dick joke or a fart joke or low-hanging fruit joke that you can think of that is not in this film. And it is terrible. It is terrible. I think the vast majority of what makes this film terrible is the concept. The concept is super lazy. Mm-hmm. You know, it's dude in a dress, which is in my mind almost the laziest of comedy. Like it's right there with fart jokes.
Right.
Dude in a dress. Like, put a dude in a dress and then that's the joke. And again, we're not talking about Some Like It Hot.
Right.
Where that's part of the joke. We're not talking about even, I would argue, the Nutty Professor, where Eddie Murphy is in a dress, but he's in this dress, and the funniest part of him in the dress is, as we talked about, he's doing a Mom's Mabley riff.
Right. But he's also playing a character. He's not in drag.
It's an actual character. I would even argue, even Medea doesn't end with dude in a dress.
Right.
Like, I think there's a large part of dude in a dress that's built into the Medea stuff. But I think the harshest Tyler Perry criticism would say Tyler Perry is trying to do something besides dude in a dress.
Right. Right.
This film puts Miguel Núñez in figuratively a dress. And then that's the joke. Like, that's the whole thing. It's so lazy that it doesn't even make sense within the constraints of the film. I have to say, like I said, I've never seen this before. I was under the impression that this was a case of his character either couldn't cut it in the NBA or somehow he never got famous, almost a Tootsie type.
Okay, right. Okay.
Where he's an unknown and then he becomes known. But the fact that the film comes on and you tell me that this man is one of the most famous NBA players on earth, so much so that people recognize him, and then you barely put a wig on him and some contacts, and not once does anyone say, does he look like this famous basketball player? Really just, it just snaps the credibility. Okay. The film goes on. Now he's the basketball player. Now he's with the women. And again, it unfolds exactly how you think it's gonna unfold. He's an asshole when he's himself. Then he becomes a female player. Now he's gonna learn the power of friendship in team play and learn a lesson by the end. And then he's gonna have this big turnaround.
Right. And get the girl.
And get the girl. But what you assume is that, and as we all know, I'm not sporty at all.
No.
But even I know that once the jig is up, that means that this team is going to get disqualified.
Right.
Because there's a man on the team.
Right.
Nope, that's not going to happen.
No.
That doesn't happen. He gets the girl, but how does he get the girl? Because he sends her flowers.
Yes. That's all it took.
I'm finished, folks. He sent her flowers. You know there's going to be a rousing speech at the end. You know what the rousing speech is? Vivica Fox sort of wanders into a room and says, hey, he embarrassed himself. We forgive him. You should forgive him too. And then the movie ends.
That's very true. That's exactly what happens.
This is really just a waste of talent, a waste of resources, a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I did laugh once. We can talk about the one time I laughed the entire hour and a half as we go on. But this was this was just I can't even really land. Like I can't, like I like to wrap it up like I like to have a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna do like this film. I'm gonna just peter off.
Well, it does kind of do that. But allow me, Vince, to provide a landing for you by way of friend of the show, Omar Dorsey, who famously, as we noted, appears in the beginning of JUWANNA MANN, this being one of his first roles, I understand.
Yeah, I think he was still in school.
He was still in school. I think he mentioned that he was 22 years old, and he talked about this film particularly when he was visiting the Spotify podcast Jemele Hill is Unbothered, which, side note, I love myself some Jemele Hill. Jemele Hill is just a cool ass person that I would love to sit down and just like chop it up. Like she's like somebody I would love to just sit and like just bust up with some crab legs and just chill out with, because she just seems so cool as hell. Here is Omar Dorsey on Jemele Hill is Unbothered. Speaking of JUWANNA MANN.
It was the director, man. Like for real. Like the movie's it's a bad premise.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's one of those where like, did y'all really think this was gonna work?
But Miguel's a very talented dude, so he kind of, he could have got away with it a little bit. But man, the director was he's such a dick, and he's a bad director. I've worked with the greatest directors in the world. Right. I worked with Quentin and Ava and Spielberg. I worked with these people, and like this motherfucker's horrible.
Are we gonna get sued? Are you gonna get us sued?
I'm not gonna get us sued. It's not even 30. It's not even 30 seconds. We give it attribution that it was from Jemele Hill is Unbothered. It's on. That's where it is. Check it out on Spotify. It's a very dope podcast. Cool ass.
You took my song away. We didn't change the art, and now you just gonna get us sued. Like you took my music away before I got my cease and desist letter from 40 Acres and a Mule.
Well. Yes, I did. I avoided that, Vince, so that we can keep it moving. And we have a great new theme music by way of Alexa Gold because of that. All right. So there you go. So there, Vince, there is Omar Dorsey on JUWANNA MANN, who seems to lay all the fault of the film at the hands of the director, Jesse Vaughn. And I will say that this is a film that is not well directed at all. There are times in this film where jokes are happening off camera that people are reacting to, and I just want to be in on the joke. There are moments when you can literally see on people's faces when they are saying to themselves, I've made some poor life decisions by being in this motion picture right here. Like you could literally see it, man. Like it I was like, yo, like he's checked out. He is totally checked out of this film. And I thought that was really telling about a film that you said aggressively lazy. I will say that it is a film that is just poor in every way. The script is poor, the directing is poor, the cinematography is poor, and as good as the acting, as good as the cast is in name, I think there are people that are pushing I think Tommy Davidson, who is funny. Tommy Davidson is a funny cat. In 2002, he's probably near the end of the Tommy E. Davidson Renaissance, if there ever was a thing. And he may be actually in the midst of trying to recreate the energy of Tommy Davidson, but he's pushing very hard in this movie. He's funny at times. He does get off some good lines, some moments where he cracks me up. There is a moment when Tommy Davidson as Puffy Smoky Smoke, Juwanna Mann.
See, it's a play on Puffy. Isn't that hilarious?
Yes, it is.
Isn't that hilarious?
Vivica A. Fox's character as Michelle, Juwanna Mann's teammate, and the R&B singer Genuine stretching himself to play the R&B singer Romeo. There's a scene where the four of them go to a restaurant for dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah.
And there are moments in that scene where I honestly laughed out loud. Like,
did you really?
Honestly. There's a moment where Tommy Davidson is looking at Juwanna Mann and he says, and he's got like gold fronts that he cleans. You see him wiping his cold fronts. And he looks at Juwanna Mann and he looks at Juwanna Mann and says, "Get it hurt?" And she's like, "What?" "When you fell from heaven, hallelujah." That's the word. I cracked up. I'm sorry. The way his line read there, I cracked. And he said, "Watch the wings." I cracked up. I died laughing. I laughed. I laughed out loud on that. On that scene. And there were a couple other scenes in that. There were moments where I did find myself laughing. I'm not going to lie. There were moments where I did find myself like, I got to give it up. That was funny. Tommy Davidson makes me laugh. Every 10 pages, Miguel Núñez got a line reading that was like, okay, I see what you did there. But for the most part, I watched this film sitting there feeling sorry for Miguel Núñez, because as we've mentioned, we are huge fans of him. And more often than not, where you see him, which admittedly is more often in a supporting role, he is there not stealing the film. And by not stealing the film, he's stealing the film. Because when he's asked to be funny, he's funny, deceptively, subtly funny. And when he's asked to be dramatic, he's good in those scenes as well.
He can do both. And I think that not to cut you off, that's what frustrated me the most. We've seen him twice now on the show. And both times he's played characters that are flamboyant / effeminate. He played Little Richard in Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
Right.
Which he did very well. And then he plays the character in Life.
Right.
Where you're talking about being funny and serious and being able to oscillate between those tones. He does it amazingly well.
Right.
So it really is just a waste.
It is a waste because, yes, as weak as the concept of Juwanna Mann is, and it is, it's a weak concept, but it is what it is. If you take the time and try to make something of it, he is a man who can dig into it. If you give him something to work with in the script, he can maybe pull something out of that. But I think that, and especially considering that this is, as far as I know, as far as I can see, his one shot, above the title, like, he's the lead,
right.
You hate to see that opportunity squandered like that, and wasted on such mediocre mediocre writing and directing. And in there, I think that is the biggest letdown of this film. Because like you said, the cast is on point. Vivica A. Fox, who I don't think they lean into her acting in this film at all. She's not asked to carry any real weight in this movie.
It might as well have been there. It might as well have just been a cardboard cutout.
Exactly. And that's a shame. That's a shame for her. She is another woman who I think has talent that has not been utilized to its greatest extent on camera. Genuine's not even an actor, so I'm not even going to rag on Genuine. And he's
how's Genuine getting in? Like, what are the steps that led to let's cast Genuine?
Well, I mean, they needed a nice looking R&B guy. Genuine's a nice looking R&B guy. And if I remember the chronology at the time, this would have been at the time when Genuine was dealing with some very severe label issues. So
you got Genuine knowledge.
So he was looking for checks.
My boy Cliff, shout out to my best friend Cliff. One of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life. He does a dramatic reading of Pony. Man, if Cliff calls me right now and starts doing a dramatic reading of Pony, I'm going to leave the podcast. Genuine the Pony dude. I know, let's get the Pony dude.
Yeah, so I'm not going to rag on him. I'm not
Kevin, not bragging, but that's not random. I mean, that's random, right?
Yeah, I get it. In 2002, is it that random? You need a good-looking R&B guy.
Let's call it Genuine.
But who else are you going to get? You can't afford a JUWANNA MANN. Usher's not coming through that door.
Right. Tyrese is busy doing his stuff.
Maybe if they landed Will Smith, who word is was their first choice for the film.
Oh, was that their first choice?
That's the word that I read.
You're going to get Will Smith?
Yeah, Kevin Pollak. According to Kevin Pollak, when he signed on to the movie, Will Smith was attached.
Will Smith was attached. We're going to get Will Smith in there.
Somehow Will Smith got unattached, and so did Kevin Pollak's interest in anything but a paycheck.
So like Will Smith is sitting on his compound thinking about The Matrix and JUWANNA MANN?
Yes, what could have been. That's exactly what he's thinking about. That's exactly what he's thinking about. So yeah, Kevin Pollak is sleepwalking through this film, and he's an actor who I actually like, but he definitely is on cruise control in this movie, and that's the fault of the writing not challenging them and the direction not pushing them, and the premise being stupid, but the premise being what it is, nobody doing anything with it,
Yes. Again.
Here's
what
I'm going to say though.
All right, go ahead.
And I don't believe I'm saying this. This is a bad movie.
I know there's no but coming.
I don't think it's a terrible movie.
Oh, you know what, Lynn?
I don't.
I know we're not on the radio, but you about to make me really cough.
Because there's a thing in comedy where you do something, you get a big laugh, and then it goes on until it becomes uncomfortable, right?
Right.
And then in comedy, if you can keep it going, it will land on a laugh at the end.
Yes.
Right. And there's a moment when Miguel Núñez, back to the restaurant scene, goes to the men's room.
Yes.
And stands at a urinal. He first kicks off his shoes to stand at a urinal.
That was terrible.
I laughed uncontrollably.
That was terrible.
And then the scene went on for about a good minute, and it got uncomfortable. And I'm like, when are they going to end this scene? Somebody leaves the urinal next to him. Somebody comes up to on the other side to a urinal. That continues on. They catch each other's eye. Miguel Núñez farts.
Yes, because this is what that scene needed, was a fart joke.
And it landed on funny again. I'm sorry. It was
insane.
It was scatological. It was lowbrow humor, but I cracked up. I also cracked up in the scene when Miguel Núñez, playing as JUWANNA MANN, realizes that, hey, as a basketball player on a women's team, as I dish out assists to my teammates, I have now license to pat them on their ass.
Yes, butt patting. Yes,
as one does in sports.
You thought that was funny too?
Yes, it was gratuitous after it. That definitely went on a little bit too long, but the concept of it, it cracked me.
You know what? You should be ashamed of yourself.
It cracked me up.
You should feel shame. I'm passing judgment on you.
It cracked me up. I found myself laughing at that. So yeah,
and
it's
I'm
a
gonna bring this up at some point. I'm gonna say, "Oh, it's not as funny as JUWANNA MANN."
I'm sorry. Those two scenes and some
terrible.
of the scenes with Tommy Davidson, I can't say this was a terrible movie.
Now, I will say the moment with Tommy Davidson at the end when you have the reveal and the camera is tight on Tommy Davidson's face as he realized JUWANNA MANN is actually a man, and he kind of goes through all the emotions of JUWANNA MANN being a man, but then he realizes he still loves her. And what does that say about me? Am I a man? That honestly made me laugh.
Yeah, see?
But it was a moment, to your point, that the script and the director trusted the actors.
True.
It actually stayed with Tommy Davidson and let him be Tommy Davidson. And that made me laugh.
True.
But the rest of this was terrible.
You know another reason to kind of quietly root for this film?
You are.
Because this is one of the last best images of the real Lil' Kim.
And there it is. I knew it was something. I knew it was something about what the hell is Lynn talking? Boy, you know what?
What?
My great-grandmother used to say, if you let somebody talk long enough, they'll tell you their name. I knew it was more going on with you in this. I was like, no, I knew Nia Long wasn't in this. What in the world is he talking about? We had this same kind of dumbass conversation about Gang of Roses. Anything that is documentary proof of Little Kim before her plastic surgery, Lynn is on board. I mean, it ain't really that. I mean, really. I mean, a man in a dress is kind of funny. If you really think about it. Because mans don't really wear dresses. So a man in a dress is kind of funny. And Lil' Kim is in it for 3 minutes.
She has a good joke in it about.
No, she doesn't.
About their good sex pact.
Yeah.
I laughed at that. I'm sorry. I did. So it's a bad film. I'm not saying it's not a bad film. It belongs in Mother May I. I'm just saying it's not a terrible.
This is worse than Soul Plane.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Okay. Okay, maybe.
But Soul Plane didn't have Lil Kim in it. So, what you gonna do? Apparently that's the secret sauce to Lynn.
It's not the worst film we've seen. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not. It's not even close. Of the worst reasonably competently made films, because I'm gonna take New Barbarians out of there, because that's one, and that's a
right. New Barbarians,
a European. That's an international film.
Right, and $6 million nigga, they actually made it for I think $4,000 and
$4,000. I think $4.
Right.
So yeah. So of the competently made films, this is not the worst film we've seen.
What is worse than Juwanna Mann?
Well, I'll give you two. One,
okay.
which I will also say probably doesn't count because I don't consider this competently made. However, the people that made it should know better, and that is Adios Amigos.
I'm not. You can't count Adios Amigos.
Fair enough. Because Fred Williamson, but this is not worse than Rappin'.
Interesting. Oh, that's a real Clash of the Titans right there.
Yeah. Like, if you take Adios Amigos out of the running, then Rappin' to me is the bottom.
Worse than Rappin'.
It's not, Vince.
Wow. Because Rappin' is
not.
terrible.
You got to give it up, Vince. You got to give it up. It's not as bad as Rappin'.
You might be right. I'm so angry that I wasted an hour and 32 minutes of my life with this. Like, speaking of Omar, I still have not started this season of Queen Sugar. We ain't watched the second episode of Pose from the other night. I ain't caught up with Invincible on Amazon, and I'm sitting here watching this dude throwing a fake kitty at the window. Actually,
it was a CGI titty too.
I had to write fake titty in my notes.
And it was a CGI titty, Vince. Did you notice that?
Yes,
it was.
Yes, I did.
I think it was like George Lucas sound and effects.
Oh, this was terrible. This was terrible.
It was. But it's no Rappin'.
And you're going to take that as a win. You're going to take that as a win. You got We're the Champions playing in the background. All right.
But Vince.
Yes.
Would you recommend?
No.
That?
No. This movie is so bad because I lied. We've actually seen Miguel Núñez 3 times on this show because he plays Mo Bitches, the pimp who can't afford to get a perm in Black Dynamite.
That's right.
It's the worst physical year he's had, and he don't know how long. That's fiscal, you stupid mom.
That's right.
There were whole stretches of time when I was watching this where I thought about turning on Black Dynamite.
That would have been good.
So no, I would not recommend Juwanna Mann. And yourself?
I can
Lynn? I hate you so much for this.
Wait a minute. Listen where I'm going. I can only recommend watching Juwanna Mann if you can watch it with like an Omar Dorsey commentary track, because if you listen to like the whole episode of him with Jamel Hill is Unbothered, he goes in like that 28 seconds with nothing compared to how he goes in on this movie. So I would watch it again if he was sitting right next to me while I was watching it. Otherwise, and enjoying a good drink. Otherwise, no. I can't recommend watching JUWANNA MANN. I can't. It might be fun at a cookout though.
And so we're into May.
So we're into May. All right. And please let us be your judge, ladies and gentlemen. Don't watch JUWANNA MANN.
Don't watch JUWANNA MANN.
Yeah.
But hey, it can only get better from here.
We'll see.
I throw down the gauntlet.
We'll see. So there you go. So that's the bar. That's the bar for this month.
This is the bar.
Well, let's see what film takes its time at the podium to see whether or not it can clear the JUWANNA MANN bar next week, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do, we invite each and every one of you to hit us up. Follow us, the Me Show Mission, on all the social medias, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube at Me Show Mission, and email us at meshowmission@gmail.com. That's spelled MICHEAUXMISSION. Go to meshowmission.com where you can hit swag and check out all of the cool designs brought to you by way of our good friends at T Public. You can also go to meshowmission.com, our website, and subscribe to the Me Show Mission Dispatch, our weekly newsletter telling you about all the good things that are coming up here in the world of the Me Show Mission, which is a proud member of The Podglomerate, curated podcast for your earbuds. Go to thepodglomerate.com, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Next week, Vince, it's my turn.
And we're still in May.
It just started, Vince. So next week.
Oh, may the 4th be with me.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a good one for you. I searched near and far for a film that I have never seen, but I'm very interested in checking out. And it stars Brian Hooks, Faison Love, and another Me Show Mission favorite, Mbouche Wright, or Mbouche Wright. It is in a film from 2000, written and directed by DJ Pooh, and they call it Three Strikes.
I have never seen that either.
I've never seen the film.
I've never seen that either. Looking
forward to filming it. Also stars another alumni of In Living Color, David Alan Grier, who's also in that film.
You know what? Because DJ Pooh wrote the script to Friday.
I think he co-wrote the script to Friday. I don't know if he actually just wrote it. Yeah.
I bet this movie isn't that bad.
You think so?
I bet you $1 American that this movie isn't that bad.
All right. We'll see. Yes, he co-wrote Friday and helped with the character development, co-writing it with Ice Cube. Mm-hmm. And he appears as Red in Friday.
That's right. My mama gave me that chain. Mm-hmm.
All right. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, he's Vince. I'm Len. And in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.
Aaliyah Muhammad says that it is kind of funny. So, uh-oh.